Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the year 1969, and more specifically, the pop culture of 1969. 1969 was a year of change. It was the tail end of the 1960s, and pop culture was shifting fast. Music, TV, and trends were all heading into a new era. So let's take a trip back to 1969 and remember what everyone watched, listened to, and talked about. If you turned on your TV in 1969, you may have caught the very first episode of The Brady Bunch. It premiered on September 26th, and while it wasn't an instant hit, it had something that kept viewers coming back. Six kids with very different personalities. And if you were a preteen, chances are you found one of them to relate to, or possibly have a crush on. And funny enough, despite running for 5 seasons, the Brady Bunch never saw major rating success. It never even cracked the top 30. But over time, it has become one of the most well loved sitcoms of the era, proving that sometimes nostalgia is stronger than Nielsen ratings. And if you were into mysteries, well, kind of, this was also the year we met four teenagers and their talking Great Dane. Scooby Doo, Where Are You? Premiered on September 13th, kicking off decades of spooky chases, unmasking villains, and that one phrase we all know. And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. Country music fans had much to be excited about because 1969 gave us not only the Johnny Cash Show, which was a variety series where the man in black himself brought music legends like Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, and Louis Armstrong to the stage, but it also gave us Hee Haw, a country music variety show hosted by country stars Buck Owens and Roy Clark. Hee Haw blended silly skits, one liner jokes, and live performances from some of the biggest names in country music. It was a similar format to Laugh-In, but with banjos and overalls. And instead of painted up dancing bikini girls, Hee Haw had the Hee Haw Honeys. The humor was cheesy on purpose, with running gags like the Gloom, Despair, and Agony on Me quartet, and the famous joke fence. And even if you weren't a country music fan, you probably remember Hee Haw just for the over the top jokes and that signature pickin' and grinnin' segment. 1969 was also the year Sesame Street premiered. Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch, and all the gang made their first television appearance on November 10th, teaching letters, numbers, and life lessons. If you grew up in the 1970s or 1980s, chances are Sesame Street was a huge part of your childhood, and it all started in 1969.
The 24-hour bug. When he gets your stomach, he makes you miserable. Nothing can make him go away, but something can make him easier to live with. Pepto-Bismol liquid.
If one event defined the music scene that year, it was Woodstock. Nearly 400,000 people packed onto a muddy farm in upstate New York for 3 days in August to see legends like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, The Grateful Dead, and Creedence Clearwater Revival. It was a messy, chaotic, and totally unforgettable moment in music history. Meanwhile, the Beatles were still at the top of their game, but behind the scenes, things weren't so perfect. In January, they surprised London with their famous rooftop concert, playing what would become their final live performance together. In September, they released Abbey Road, which featured incredible songs like Come Together, Here Comes the Sun, and Something. The public didn't know it then, but the Beatles were on their way out. One star making his way back in was Elvis Presley. After years of making those ridiculous Hollywood movies, although I do love those movies, Elvis returned to the stage in 1969, launching his Las Vegas residency. Elvis proved he still had the voice and the moves to captivate an audience night after night. As for the biggest musical hits of that year, the Rolling Stones had everyone singing along to Honky Tonk Woman. The Jackson 5 made their debut with I Want You Back, and the Archies took Sugar Sugar to the top of the charts. At the top of the TV charts, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In kept audiences laughing with its fast-paced comedy. Gunsmoke was still holding strong after more than a decade, while Bonanza continued to be a TV favorite. And over in Mayberry, Mayberry RFD carried on the small town charm of the Andy Griffith Show as its successful spin-off. At the movies, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was the year's top hit, with Paul Newman and Robert Redford proving that even outlaws could be charming. Meanwhile, Midnight Cowboy pushed boundaries, becoming the first and only X-rated film to win Best Picture. And then there was Easy Rider, the ultimate road movie that captured the spirit of the 60s counterculture and made Jack Nicholson a star. Other big hits included True Grit, which won John Wayne his first and only Oscar, and the comedy Cactus Flower, which earned a young Goldie Hawn in her breakout role an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. Fashion in 1969 was all about breaking the rules. Styles were bold, colorful, and completely free-spirited. The hippie movement was in full swing, and that meant tie-dye shirts, fringed vests, and flared jeans were everywhere. For women, the miniskirt was popular, often paired with go-go boots or patterned tights. While some fashionistas rocked the short skirts, others went in the opposite direction, wearing flowy bohemian maxi dresses, a style that would carry over into the 1970s. Men's fashion was shifting too. Long hair wasn't just for rock stars anymore, it was becoming mainstream. The clean cut look of the early 60s was fading, and shaggy, unkept styles were in. Bright colors and wild patterns were everywhere, from psychedelic prints to bold stripes. And fashion was becoming more unisex. Guys and girls alike wore bell bottoms, embroidered shirts, and chunky belts. 1969 fashion was a mix of rebellion and self expression, setting the stage for the even bolder styles in the 1970s. But beyond the world of entertainment, history was being made. The moon landing, the tragedy on Cielo Drive, and Vietnam. 1969 wasn't all peace and love. In my next video, I'll take a look at the biggest news headlines from 1969 and how they shaped the world we were living in. So, what do you remember from 1969? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like nostalgia, make sure to subscribe for more. And thanks so much for watching.
Some shampoos are thin, but Liquid Prel is luxurious. Try it. Liquid Prel's rich lather lets you become anything you want. A Spanish dancer, a snow bunny, a fashion model. You like that. Your hair is lovely, alive and shining.
And now modeling our latest hairstyle is me.